Are you thinking about hiring a business coach but feeling overwhelmed by all of the options out there? Or maybe you're not even sure what a business coach actually does, and you've got a healthy dose of skepticism thanks to the whole coaching coaches on how to coach other coaches thing. When I first entered the online business space, I had no idea coaching was even a thing. And even after I learned about it, it took me a really long time to come around to the idea that it might actually be really helpful for me. If you're nodding along, then this episode is for you. Welcome to the Six Figure Brand Podcast, where each week we're pulling back the curtain on what it really takes to build a six-figure business as an online service provider. I'm your host, Morgan. I'm a branding expert, online agency owner, mom of two, and military spouse, and I'm obsessed with helping entrepreneurs like you understand the ins and outs of branding so that you can use it to grow your business without sacrificing your sanity. Whether you're just starting out or focused on scaling, we're diving into everything you need to build a profitable and sustainable online business. Let's get to it. I hired my first business coach, Erin, back in 2017, and if you've listened to other episodes of the podcast, I'm sure you've heard me mention her. At the time, I was freelancing kind of on the side of my full-time job, and honestly, I thought that I needed help marketing myself. So I was posting in Facebook groups and trying to figure out how to grow my business when finally someone commented and said, "Hey, I think actually you might need a business coach rather than just marketing support." They introduced me to Erin. I had a call with her and ultimately ended up hiring her, which turned out to be honestly one of the best decisions in my business that I've ever made. I think we worked together for a total of like 4 years, and she really helped me take my side gig and turn it into a real legitimate business that allowed me to leave my full-time job, get booked out, and eventually scale to six figures. I learned a ton from her, not just about business, but about decision making, how to feel more confident selling my offers, and how to grow my business in a way that feels aligned and supports the life that I'm actually trying to live. Once I got my business to a place that it was kind of sustaining itself, I took a little bit of a break for coaching for a few years. And then when I got pregnant with my first baby, I knew that I needed some additional support in figuring out how to navigate business and motherhood and taking maternity leave and all of those things. So that's when I hired my current coach, Kelsey. Specifically, I chose her because she had done exactly what I was trying to do, which was run a six-figure agency while having babies and taking time off and really stepping into that CEO role instead of kind of doing all of the doing myself. It was important to me that I was learning from somebody who, like I said, had actually done the thing. And that's one of the things that I feel really, really strongly about when it comes to coaching, is that if somebody can't say, "I've done what you're trying to do, and here's how I'm going to help you do it," then be a little skeptical. If it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. And I think there definitely is a lot of stigma around business coaching for good reason. The industry can feel a little MLM-y at times. And I think there's a big difference between a coach that has built a business that supports real people in building real businesses and one who is just, like I said earlier, coaching other coaches on how to be a coach. So in this episode, I'm going to dive pretty deep into what a business coach actually does and what they don't do, the different types of coaching out there, how to know when you actually are ready for coaching and when maybe it's not a great idea, what to look for in a coach and some red flags to look out for, and how to get the most out of the experience once you've hired somebody. We are also going to talk about something that I feel like I've never heard somebody discuss, which is how to know when it's time to move on from working with a coach and how to kind of navigate that in a way that's not going to have you feeling bad, because coaching relationships are not meant to last forever. And I think that's a big, big misconception. So whether you're considering hiring your first coach or you just want to learn how to make smarter investments moving forward in your business, I think this episode is going to be really helpful in teaching you how to hire from a place of clarity and confidence and not desperation, hype, or shiny object syndrome. So let's dive in. First, I want to talk about what a business coach actually does and what they don't do. So a business coach should be offering you strategic guidance, accountability, and decision-making support. They kind of act as somebody that can help you hold your vision, help you see that vision a little more clearly when maybe things seem blurry to you, and then help you figure out what that next aligned step is going to be in order to get you to that next level that you're shooting for. I think another thing that is super valuable that kind of is underrated a little bit is that they really are also there to act as a sounding board when maybe you're too close to your business to see things clearly. So that saying, "can't see the forest through the trees," that's kind of what I'm talking about here. Yesterday, I think, sent like a 10-minute Voxer to my coach and was like, here's all the things I'm thinking. I don't really know like what I'm asking of you here, but this is just all the stuff that's in my head that I've like has kind of come up for me lately. And she was able to listen to it and kind of reflect back to me, okay, well, here's where I think there's some things we should explore more. Here's what you could take action on right now. Here's some stuff that maybe like doesn't really matter as much as you're worrying about right now, and just kind of help to get me out of my own head a little bit. I think what coaching is not, and this is where people have maybe some misinformed expectations that then lead them to think, oh, coaching's not for me, or this person wasn't a good coach and they feel kind of let down. Coaching is not a replacement for therapy. I'm going to say this again. Coaching is not a replacement for therapy. It can feel that way sometimes because you're really like laying it all out there for your business coach, and that's great. But also see a therapist if you think that that is something that might be supportive for your mental health. No matter what coaching certification they have, they're not trained mental health professionals. And when we're looking to somebody for that type of support who is not equipped to give it, scary, dangerous, and bad things can happen. So I want to be really clear about that first and foremost. A coach also is not going to execute or implement things for you. They're not a doer. They are somebody to help guide you through doing the doing or hiring other people to do the doing. But they're not going to write your sales page copy for you or go out and sell for you or create social content for you. Hiring a coach is also not a guarantee of success. So I like to kind of equate this to hiring a fitness coach, right? If you hire a personal trainer, that does not automatically mean that you're going to meet your fitness goals, whether that's lift a certain amount of weight or run a marathon or lose weight after having a baby or any of those things. They're there to support you in doing that. And if you follow what they're telling you to do and you put in the work and you show up every single day, then you will probably succeed. But those other elements of showing up and doing the work and following their guidance and being diligent and all of those things, that is where your success is going to come from. You have to take it a step farther than just paying a coach. And finally, coaching isn't like a Band-Aid or a quick fix. You still need all of your foundations in business, like an actual offer that people want to buy and knowing who your ideal client is and pricing your offers profitably. A coach can help you do all of those things, absolutely. And my coaches have done all of that for me. But hiring a coach does not mean that you get to skip all of that foundational work. So to kind of summarize, a good coach will help you to be able to kind of identify that right next step. So for me, this has been huge lately where I have lots of ideas and lots of things I want to do and tons of changes I want to make in my business. And I'm so excited about all of them that I don't necessarily always know where to start or what's going to be the most like impactful next step, which kind of ties into they're going to help you stay focused and avoid shiny objects. So my coach frequently will tell me like, that's a really great idea, but let's put it on the shelf for now and focus on like what we're really trying to do here. I think another thing too is they think like a business owner. They understand the space that you're in. So I talk to my husband all the time about business and my friends occasionally, and having that sounding board is helpful, and they can tell me ideas they have or what they think about what I'm trying to do, but they don't know it from inside the industry the way that a business coach would. So that's really valuable perspective to have. And finally, a good coach will help you just navigate all of the seasons in business, right? So I naively thought that once I got my business up and running and sustainable, that things would just kind of run on autopilot and I could be done building. And that could not be further from the truth. There have been so many changes in my life and in my business and in the industry and just all sorts of things that I've really had to lean on my coaches to help me navigate, because I would have just been paralyzed probably without them. I mean, I've had 2 children. My husband has joined the military. We've moved a bunch of times. COVID happened. There were so many times where I just had to get on a call with my coach and be like, I don't know what to do. I'm so stressed and so overwhelmed. Can you please help talk me off the ledge a little bit, and then also help me figure out what action I can take to move through this and help myself feel better about it. So when I've been talking about the coaches that I've worked with, I primarily have been talking about one-on-one coaching. And I kind of want to talk through the different types of coaching containers, because there's so many out there, from one-on-one to group coaching to mastermind to a course that has coaching access to a lot of coaches are even offering like just Voxer coaching right now, which is interesting. So I want to talk through what those containers are, when I think they kind of make sense, and how to know whether they're for you. or not. So first and foremost is one-on-one coaching. So this is going to be super high touch, very tailored to you support. And as such, it's going to come at kind of a premium price. So this is just a ballpark estimate based on the coaches that I know, but I would say for good one-on-one coaching, I would expect to pay at least $750 a month up to like multiple 5 figures. One-on-one coaching can be really helpful if you're trying to make some big shifts in your business. Are you ready to put your foot on the gas and grow your business to 6 figures? It all starts with a solid strategic brand foundation. Join the 6 Figure Brand Society today. It's the only place where you can get one-on-one support from a branding expert for under $200 a month. Head to sixfigurebrandsociety.com or use the link in the show notes to watch our free training, where you'll get a sneak peek of what's included in the membership and how my team and I can help support you in building your profitable and sustainable 6-figure brand. That you just don't feel like you can get the amount of support that you need in a group setting, or if you're somebody that just prefers to work one-on-one, right? Like you don't want to air your dirty laundry in a group coaching setting, or you feel like you're maybe not going to be as like honest and forthcoming and vulnerable in a group setting. And so you know that you need that one-on-one private support. Group coaching financially, I would say, is kind of one step down. So it's going to tend to be a little bit less expensive than one-on-one coaching. Typically, it's like a smaller group. So the group coaching that I've been a part of has been not more than like 6 people in a group. And occasionally you'll have kind of a hybrid of group and one-on-one coaching. So you'll have like everything is mostly in a group, and then you get a couple of one-on-one calls here and there. And that can be a really cool kind of happy medium. The big benefit to group coaching is that you have a little more element of like peer support and community. And I will tell you that the group coaching program that I did, oh my gosh, I think in like 2018. So we're in 2025 now. That's 7 years ago. I have a call on the calendar with all of those women like next week for us just to catch up and have a chat. And I talk to all of them on probably at least a monthly basis. So that community building and kind of finding your people is really, really valuable. And group coaching can be a good way to do that. Some of the drawbacks are that it's typically kind of like structured. So with one-on-one coaching, you work on whatever makes sense for you to work on in your business. With group coaching, frequently, the coach will kind of have a structure of, okay, month 1, we're going to work on this. Month 2, we're going to work on this. Month 3, we're going to work on this. And if any of those topics are things that you don't really need support in or don't make sense for you to work on at that time in your business, then it can be a little frustrating because you're sitting there like, well, I really wanted to work on this other thing, but that's not what the group is doing. And that can get a little annoying. The other thing is it is so important to have a good group of people in your coaching program, and that as the client isn't something you have control over. So I was really fortunate that the coach that I did group coaching with was phenomenal at bringing the right groups of people together. And it shows because, like I said, we're all still close with each other 7 years later. Now, I have also been in groups where it's kind of a mismatch of like the people that are in the group together. And so you have issues where they're not at the same place in their business. So one person is like still trying to put together their packages. And then somebody else is like, well, I have that nailed. I've been in business for years. I really want to focus on scaling and creating digital products. And so you're at such different places in your business journey that can get kind of frustrating. And then finally, I feel kind of bad even saying this, but it is a thing that happens and I want to call attention to it, is that you get people whose energy kind of brings the group down, right? So they're like taking up all the time on calls, or they're always like being a Debbie Downer, or they're not showing up for you the way that you are showing up for them. I have had this happen to me in group coaching programs also. And it's a little frustrating to feel like you are doing the work and showing up to support the other people in the group, and somebody else is just kind of being a buzzkill, to be blunt. So that's something to watch out for also. Now, we also have masterminds, which are very, very similar to group coaching programs. The big difference is that masterminds are more peer-led or peer-facilitated. So typically you have somebody who's running the mastermind, but it's left more up to the group to kind of collaborate with each other and support each other versus having a coach who is running each of the calls and like coaching everyone in the group, if that makes sense. So I kind of like to look at it as if you can imagine visually group coaching, you have a coach at the top who is feeding information down into all of the members of the group. Versus a mastermind, you have everyone sitting in a circle and all kind of supporting and teaching and learning from each other. Again, same kind of things to watch out for apply as group coaching. It is so important to make sure that you align with everyone else who's in the mastermind. And that can be tricky because you don't necessarily know who's going to be in there when you're signing up for this. So that definitely involves kind of putting some faith in the people who are running the mastermind and putting it together to trust that they're going to bring the right people in to support you and for you to support. Again, this is definitely going to be at a lower price point, most likely, than one-on-one coaching. And if you are more looking for community and collaboration versus someone telling you what to do in your business, then this could be a really, really great option. And then lastly, we have courses that have some coaching access. So in my business, I'm not a fan of courses just because I don't have the time for them. Like, I can't tell you how many courses I have collecting dust in my Gmail that I'm never going to get around to. But if that is something that you have the time for and you like self-paced learning, then something like this could be a good option. Many of them will offer like a VIP upgrade where you can get kind of more one-on-one or group coaching access to who's ever running the course. And that can be, again, a good lower ticket way to get a taste of coaching in your business without fully investing in something like one-on-one coaching or group coaching or a mastermind. And then to wrap up kind of our different coaching containers, I do also want to mention that the way that I've talked about all of these so far is in kind of an ongoing thing. So typically you'll sign up for 3 months or 6 months or a year of one-on-one or group coaching or mastermind access. I do want to point out that there are other ways to get coaching in your business. So more and more coaches now are starting to offer like a Voxer intensive or a VIP day or that type of thing. And that can be really great if you're saying, okay, I just have this one problem that I want to work on. Or if you want to test out to see, do you vibe with this person? Do you want their support ongoing? That can be something to look for. So if you're kind of on the fence, don't want to make a huge investment, you're not positive if you want to work with someone long-term, this can be a good way to kind of dip your toe in. So I would be looking for coaches who offer those type of things if you're kind of in that not sure but want to try it out phase. Okay, so now we kind of know what coaching is not, all the different types of coaching that is available to us in the online space. How do you know if you're ready to hire a coach? So some big indicators for me were when I hired my first coach, I felt like I didn't know what to do next. I joke that I accidentally started my business, but basically I had established like a pretty good flow of freelance work. And I knew I could turn that into something, but I didn't know how. I didn't know what that next step was to go from freelancer to like actual business. So if you are at some sort of a plateau kind of in your business and you are thinking like, I don't know what to do next, and you're feeling stuck, that's a good indicator. I hired my second coach because I knew that I was going to have a huge shift in my life and my business. And again, I wasn't sure how to navigate that. And I did not want to just figure it out on my own. So that's another kind of key indicator. Some big change is happening or has happened. And you're kind of like, okay, what do I do now? And then on a smaller scale, you're just tired of Googling and trying to kind of duct tape things together. And you want a little more polished and professional guidance. If you are feeling like you're overthinking everything, like you're having kind of analysis paralysis in your business, and that is holding you back from moving forward. And then finally, if you just feel like you want some support, you want somebody to hold your hand and be your partner as you build your business, just because you want to is a valid reason. I would say you maybe are not ready to hire a business coach. If you're looking for somebody to just fix it for you, that is not going to happen. You're going to end up disappointed, I promise. If you're super new to business and you don't have the cash flow to really support that, I would say that spreading yourself too thin in order to hire a coach is going to lead to frustration. So in that case, maybe something like a group coaching or a membership that kind of gives you some lower level support might be a good option. And I would also say never ever hire a coach out of desperation. So if you are feeling like I can't pay my rent next month or I'm going to close my business or any of those things, really think hard about whether or not hiring a coach is actually the right decision, because what can happen is you put all your eggs in that basket and you're like, I'm counting on this person to fix my business. And if that doesn't happen, then you are going to be super disappointed. You're going to think, oh, this person's a terrible coach when maybe they're not. And it's just not going to be a good situation for anyone. I want to really remind you here that coaching works when you work. So you have to still show up and implement the things that you and your coach talk about and think critically and be in the driver's seat of your business. A coach is not there to run your business for you. They're there to support you in running your business. So now we've decided that we are ready to hire a coach. How do you find one, and how do you know if somebody is the right fit for you? So I have talked about this a million times on the podcast, but I am big on referrals, especially when it comes to something as personal as coaching. So if you can reach out to friends in your industry who have worked with a coach and had a good experience, I think that's a really good place to start. If you have ever attended, like in Six Figure Brand Society, we have guest expert workshops. If you've attended anything like that, like other talks or webinars or whatever from coaches that you've likely resonated with and learned from. And then finally, you could search on social media, but I would definitely do a lot of vetting if you do that, because there's no way to really know how legit those people are. And I hate to say that, but if we're talking about this coaches coaching other coaches thing, it's important that you be very mindful about who you're giving your money to when it comes to coaching. So things I would really look out for are real experience. Have they done the thing you want to do? So like I said, when I hired my current coach, Kelsey, I hired her because I had a design business that I wanted to scale into an agency. I was about to have a baby. I knew I didn't want to work full time anymore. And I knew that Kelsey had done literally all of those things. She went from freelancing to running a multi-six-figure design agency. She had 2 kids. She worked, I think, like less than 5 hours a week at one point. And I knew, okay, she's done it for herself, so she can help me do it also. When we're kind of vetting clients through testimonials, we want to look at actual results and transformation, right? So not just, oh, so-and-so was so wonderful to work with and she made me feel great about myself and I had so much fun on all of her calls. Those things are great, but what results did you see? Did that person help them grow their business? Did it help them hire a team? Did it help them work less? Whatever the goal is that you're after, you want to look for evidence that they have done that for other clients via testimonials or case studies or what have you. And then finally, you want to be a little scrutinous of their offer. We want to know, okay, there's going to be like this many calls and they're going to be this long and here's how communication is going to work. The more kind of parameters they can give you, I think is a good indicator that they've done this before and they know their stuff, versus somebody who's just saying, oh, just, you just pay me every month and I'll just support you however you need. That's too vague. And then whenever you get to a point that you start to feel like, okay, I'm not getting the level of support that I was hoping for, you don't really have anything to fall back on where you can say, hey, you told me I was going to get X, Y, and Z, and I don't feel like I'm getting that. Other ways to vet them, I would say, is follow them on Instagram. So, or whatever social media platform you prefer. For a little context, I first met Kelsey at a business conference in 2018. I hired her for the first time in 2022. So I had been following her and kind of in her world and like paying attention to what she was doing for 6 years before I pulled the trigger on hiring her. And once I was ready to, it was the easiest decision ever because I knew exactly what she could do for me. I knew that I enjoyed talking with her and consuming her content and all of that stuff. And I felt really comfortable in the decision I was making because I had been following her for so long and I felt like I knew her already. Don't be afraid to ask questions, I think, is another one. So if a coach is like getting annoyed with you having a million questions about what does working together look like or what results have you gotten for your other clients, that's a huge, huge red flag to me. If anyone is ever rushing you into a sale or saying, oh, price is going to go up or all the spots are filled or whatever, that gives me a little bit of pause because I'm sitting here thinking, okay, what's the rush? Like if I don't feel 100% comfortable in this decision and then you're going to rush me into it, then we're starting off our relationship on not a great foot. So that is not ideal to me. And I think a good gut check here is ask yourself, if you owned their business, is that something you would be proud of and happy with? So not to beat a dead horse here, but with Kelsey, if I had a multi-six-figure design agency with kind of a coaching business on the side and was spending most of my time with my kids and working only a handful of hours per week, I would be thrilled. So that was a good indicator to me that she's the right person to support me in growing this next iteration of my business. So that kind of flows nicely into some red flags to watch out for when it comes to coaching. I am always very wary of income claims of saying, oh, you'll reach 5 figures in 30 days or something like that, like 5 figures a month. That's just so hard to guarantee. So any like get rich quick guaranteed income claims, I'm very, very, very skeptical. Lack of transparency is another big one. So if they don't want to tell you what their process is or what their coaching containers look like, or they're saying, oh, just get on a call and then I'll tell you the price. That works for a lot of people, but that's not how I like to do business. And so I know that somebody who's going to operate that way is not somebody that I want to work with. I mentioned this before, but if they don't have any clear, I don't want to call them deliverables because like I said, coaches are not doing the thing for you. They're helping support you in doing the thing, but no clear parameters for what you're getting. And they just say, oh, you just get, quote, support. That's not clear enough for me. That's another big red flag. Again, I built a business teaching other people how to build a business cycle. Personally, for me, I'm not here for it. I want to know that you have supported people in building businesses like the one I'm trying to build. So for example, my first coach, Erin, does not have a background in design, but she had worked with many, many other designers before and creative entrepreneurs. So I knew that she was equipped to support me in building that type of a business, even though she hadn't necessarily done it herself before. And then lastly, this might be a little controversial, I don't know, but if they focus mostly on mindset and not a lot on like actual business strategy, I don't want to say it's a red flag, but that's just something to be really aware of. Are you looking for a mindset coach? If so, go for it. Like that is super valuable when it's the right time for that in your business. But if you need help with the tangibles, like I need help setting up my systems. I need help getting more leads. I need help getting better at writing sales copy, any of that stuff. And they're over here telling you, oh, you just need to journal every day and meditate and believe in yourself more. All of that stuff is great and useful and you should do it, but believing in yourself is not going to magically fix your back-end systems. So being really clear on, are they actually offering the type of support that you need, or is there kind of a mismatch there, is going to help you to not be disappointed when you hire this person and then like you don't get the support that you were hoping for or needing in your business. So once you have found, vetted, and hired a coach, right, how do you get the most out of this investment that you're making? I would say there are like 5 things that I try to do as a client of coaches and that I also kind of expect from the gals who I am coaching. First and foremost is be open and honest. So if you're not telling the truth and if you're embarrassed to tell your coach, like, yeah, I actually didn't make a profit this month, they're not going to be able to help you. So they can only coach you as well as you can be truly transparent with them. Next is going to be prep before the call. I love it when I show up to a coaching call and the person who I'm coaching is saying, okay, here's all the things I'm looking for your support with. Here's what happened since we talked last. Here's what I'd like to work on. I don't love it when they come and they want me to lead the conversation. I can do that, but it's going to be most impactful and I'm going to be able to tailor the support most to you when you're kind of the driver. And like I said, a business coach is not there to run your business for you. It's your job to run your business. And likewise, it's your job to kind of tell your coach, okay, here's what I need help with. Number 3, don't make them your crutch. So your coach is there to help you build confidence, learn how to make better business decisions, and kind of be like that sounding board for you. But I don't want you to become codependent on them. You need to be able to build that confidence to do all of this stuff on your own. And your coach is just there as like a backup or to give you a thumbs up and say, hey, yeah, doing a great job. If you're getting into a situation where you can't make a decision without consulting your coach, or you're just doing whatever they tell you to, even though that doesn't feel like the right thing to you, that's a big, big red flag to me. Number 4, give them feedback. So if you are saying, hey, I actually feel like I would like more calls, or I don't want to do this thing the way that you've told me to do, or anything like that, that's going to help them coach you better. I don't ever want somebody to be just sucking it up and doing what their coach says when like deep down inside they're screaming like this doesn't feel right. So it's fine to give your coach constructive feedback. Just because they're a coach does not mean that they're infallible, and they probably want that feedback so that they can get better at their job too. And then finally, implement all the stuff that your coach helps you with in between calls or touch points or whatever. So I've said this several times already through this episode, but coaching only works if you do. So you can attend all the calls and get all the advice. And if you don't ever take action, your business will not grow. You will not accomplish the goals that you set whenever you started your coaching journey. So take action, do the thing. It's fine if it's messy. It's fine if it's not perfect. That's what your coach is there for. It's better to do it and have to make some tweaks later than to just sit there and never take any action. Okay. And then the last thing I want to talk about is what happens when you're done working with a coach. So I went through this with my first coach, Erin, and it's like hilarious looking back now on it. But I remember for several months just feeling like I was complete with coaching, right? At that time, I felt like I had all the systems I need. I didn't really have anything specific that I was like wanting support in. And for our last couple of coaching calls, I just would show up and be like, honestly, everything's great. I don't really have a lot that I need support with right now. And I feel confident navigating anything that comes up. And so then we would just sit and chit chat for an hour, which was fine, but I'm not paying her over $1,000 a month to chit chat for an hour, right? So then when it came time for me to renew, I was having a lot of anxiety about it because what it came down to was I didn't want to hurt her feelings. And so I had the relationship with her where I was able to be transparent about that. And I straight up said, I feel like I don't really need coaching right now, but I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want to like take money out of your pocket. And basically like, I feel bad. And she was great about it. She was like, no, that's totally fine. Like, that's what I want to see. And she told me coaching isn't meant to last forever. And I was like, oh, phew, huge weight off my shoulders. So I just want to make that really clear to you that your coaching relationship should end at some point if you have a good coach, and they should not make you feel guilty about it. So if you get to the point where you feel like I got what I came for, we accomplished the thing, my goals are achieved, and I feel confident moving forward on my own, it's okay to part ways. And just for complete transparency, Erin is still in my life very much. Like, she is actually a member of the Six Figure Brand Society. We chat all the time. It's not like now that I'm not paying her to be my coach, I can never talk to her again. I think the key here is to kind of communicate that decision, obviously in a respectful way. And when you can, try not to end things like out of anger or on a bad note. Sometimes you will have a bad coaching experience where you need to just be like, hey, this is not what I came here for. I'm sorry, like I'm out. But I think that's a little easier of a situation to navigate, right? Because you can say, hey, this isn't what I signed up for. I don't want to renew my contract. And that feels pretty easy. What's really hard is when you are happy with the coach and you do like working with them, but you just don't need anything right now. So I just wanted to take a sec to kind of normalize, we'll call it graduating from coaching. It's a good thing to be done with coaching for now. And you will probably come back to it, maybe with that same coach or maybe with a different coach in the future. But taking a break is a really, really valuable time where you can kind of integrate and apply all of the things you've learned and just take a second to kind of check in with yourself and say, okay, I worked with this coach for however long. Here's all the things I learned. Get a feel for how it feels to do business on your own. And then when something happens or there's a specific thing that you want to work on, then you can reevaluate and say, okay, I'm ready to dip my toe back into coaching again. So to kind of close this one out, I just want to say that coaching can be an incredible investment in your business when it's aligned with your goals and your values and what you're hoping to get out of their relationship. And I think it's really important to ask yourself, what kind of support do I actually need? Taking the time to really find the right person or the right container for you. And of course, being able to see some of those red flags and knowing when it is time to part ways. Hopefully, if you're thinking about hiring a business coach, or maybe you're working with a coach right now and you're wondering, like, is this how it's supposed to be? Hopefully you found this helpful. This is one of the things that I feel so passionate about and really love chatting about. So shoot me a DM on Instagram if you are thinking about hiring a coach or you've worked with a coach before, and just kind of tell me where you're at in the process. I would love to spitball with you a little bit about this. Thanks for tuning in to the Six Figure Brand Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to rate the show and leave a review on whatever app you're listening on. And as a thank you, I'll send you coffee on me. Yes, I'm serious. As a smaller show for now, you taking the time to do this makes a huge impact on how we can reach more people and how I can continue to create this content for free. When you take a screenshot of your review, follow and tag me on Instagram at Spect&Co. I'll send you a $5 Starbucks gift card. As always, don't forget to check out the show notes for any links or resources I mentioned during the episode. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you next week.